Hey everybody! In this video I'm going to walk you through setting up Thonny, which is the programming environment we'll be using throughout this course to practice programming. Don't worry, this one is very quick, beginner friendly. It's not something that you have to have a programming background at all. So what we're going to do first of all is open up the browser, and we're going to go to thonny.org. That's THONNY.org. All right, now this is first of all what you're going to want to focus on. If you're using a Windows computer, you'll see that you do have that option. There are several ones here, 62-bit or 32-bit. Most of you are probably going to be using this first one because you do have a newer computer. Then if you're on a Mac, as I am, then I'm going to be using this option. And if you are using a Linux machine, probably you don't need very much of my help anyway, but we're not going to really focus on that. You're likely going to be on one of these two. So if you are on Windows, go ahead and click the link and download the file. And I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to go ahead and click the link and I'm going to download the file. All right. Now, once you have it opened, once you have it downloaded, you're going to go ahead and open that file. And if you are on a Windows, then of course, you just follow the installer instructions. I'm going to open up this, and it always moves things to my second screen. So let me pull this up here. And I'm just going to click through the installer here. So I'm just going to hit continue, continue, I agree, continue, install. And because I do have some administrative privileges set up on my computer, I do have to put in my password. So that's just the password for my computer. All right, and it's going to go through the installer, and eventually it will tell us that the installation was successful. So that's really how easy it is to install this. And what's really cool about this is that in order to program using Python, you're going to need two things. One is your development environment, or your programming environment, which we just installed. But Thonny, one of the reasons that I enjoy it for this is that it includes Python. If we were using maybe a different development environment, we would have had to install Python separately. But when you get Thonny, you get Python. So that's great. So we're going to go ahead and hit close. And now let's go ahead and open it up. So I'm going to click on my applications, and I'm going to look for Thonny in my list of applications. If you are on a Windows computer, you're just going to go to Start and look for it in your Start menu. So now I'm going to open it up, and let me close this and get it out of the way, and then let me get Thonny on the screen for y'all. All right. So this is the basic environment. There are two things that we want to look at. First, on the top section of the screen, this is the text editor. This is where we're going to be writing code. Then down here on the bottom, this is the shell, and that's where it's going to show you the results of whatever it is that you're coding. So those are the two things that you're going to be using most of all. Now, just to kind of get you acclimated to the system, another thing that I like about this particular development environment is that it includes some things that are graphical. A lot of coding is just a shell and a bunch of writing, and that can be very hard if you're used to the graphical elements on the screen. So I just think this is a little more familiar, and it's a nice way to ease into programming. So we're going to click on New if we want to start a new file, because in programming, just like with Word documents, you have to save your program in a file. So, you can start a new file. You can open one if you already have some that are created. We don't right now, but that's how you would do it. And then, of course, you are well familiar with the save command. Once you have written some code and you're ready to run it, this button is the Run button, and that also shouldn't be too hard to figure out because it looks like a play button. And that's, we're used to the play button on videos all the time. This button is the Debug button, and eventually we are going to probably run into some errors, and when we do that, we can use the debugging, and then there are some different tools here that will be useful in that. And if for some reason we write a program and it gets stuck, it hangs up, then we can hit stop to actually stop the program. All right, some other things, of course, in the file menu, it should be fairly familiar: new, open, recent files, close, save, so on and so forth. And then under edit, very similar: undo, redo, cut, copy, paste, and more things. All right, then under view, this is kind of cool because it allows us to add portions of the environment back onto the screen. Right now, we've only got the shell turned on. So, that's all we see. But we can click on the assistant and it'll give us an assistant over here. I'm going to close that back out. We can include variables, which we don't have any defined right now because this is an empty program, but you will be defining variables. This is a great way to keep up with what you have available. Some other things, let's see, there's outline. This is a good one. Let me find it. Notes. This is where you can write your notes to yourself as you go along. And if, for the case of this particular assignment, you can paste your assignment instructions here, whatever. Think of it as like a sticky notes frame. That's exactly what it is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close the outline, but I'm going to keep variables and notes because those are potentially the most useful. And this is cool too because you can, resize. All right, now let's see what else we have up here. Under the run menu, you can run your script. Once you've written some code, you can debug. This is kind of cool because you've got nicer and faster. There's different ways. You can run the script in the terminal. So many different things, but we're not going to get into all that today. Now under tools, we're going to click on manage packages. And this is important to be aware of because there are certain packages or libraries that are used for different types of data analysis that are useful for business. Some of them may be installed here, but some are not. But this feature of Thonny makes it very easy. All you have to do is type in whatever you want to search for, and it's going to search on PyPy. It's like the full database of all packages that are available for programming in Python. So we're not going to use this today, but eventually we probably will. So I'm going to hit close, and really that's all you need to know to get installed. So if you have done that, you have done well, and let me know if you have any questions or problems.